I wish I had heard this earlier. I got a verbal warning on Monday, and I'm afraid since I requested paternal leave for December. Yeah, so let me talk about this because this is a good point or a good thing to bring up. You want to avoid. So one thing is an issue, right, or an altercation in isolation, right? Like your boss called your bluff once, but it's one thing for that to happen, and another for like every week something, right? Like or every couple of weeks there's something with you. Um, I've run a number of experiments on employers about this, and they don't like 100%. This is something that I talk about in the book and the course, tweet about it all the time. Like you want to avoid creating negative patterns of behavior. You want to avoid being the guy, right? Like that does something, like the guy that is always late, the guy that doesn't show up to meetings, the guy that takes forever to hand his work, right? Like his tasks. You don't want to create patterns like the guy that is always disconnecting from meetings, the guy that always has internet issues when he's in a call, the guy that always takes 5 minutes to share his screen. You don't want to create those patterns because the pattern is what destroys you. An altercation, an isolated issue, right? Like you not being super efficient once or twice, right? Like once every couple of months, every couple of months. It's fine. It's when you were like you did something this week and then next week it doesn't even have to be the same thing. It's like problem one week one, another problem week two, another problem week four, right? Like it could be that you go a week without any issues, and then but you have another. Is there's recurrent problems, and you can kind of like understand this or their perspective because you're always going to have excuses and explanations for yourself. Like every time you have an issue, it's an isolated issue, right? So like, yeah, boss, I was late to this meeting on Monday because X reason that may be valid on its own, but then you're late to a meeting on Wednesday next week, and maybe an isolation that also had a good excuse. But again, now you're the guy that's late to meetings that doesn't care. And I literally had this happen where a boss told me, right, like, oh, you're always having issues. And he didn't fire me or anything. He told me like, do a better job of attending meetings, right? And then I ran another experiment, which I don't recommend you do, right? Like I ran this experiment so you don't have to. The other experiment that I ran was excusing myself with enough notice and with valid excuses out of every call for like 2 weeks, just to see what happens, right? Like so it wasn't like I didn't warn them. It wasn't like they all knew. Every time there was a call, couldn't make it. They scheduled something. Sorry, can't make it to that time. I got something. I excuse myself with enough notice, which is why they always tell you like, oh, if you're going to skip a meeting, let us know in advance, that sort of stuff. I did that, but I did that for every meeting except stand up, I believe. Except stand up. I did that for every other meeting. And even then stand up, I skipped a couple ones. I didn't skip all of them, but I skipped a couple. And after 2 weeks, they didn't even give me a warning. They just let me go. They put like they had like one secret test of like one meeting that if I didn't attend, they were gonna fire me. I didn't attend, and they just like next day you're fired. So you don't want to create those patterns, right? Because number one, it can cost you your job. Like literally, they can cost you your job being the guy that causes problems or that has issues. Again, even if they're valid, they're not going to care about your excuses. They're not your friends. They're not your family. They could get you fired, or they're very, very hard to fix, right? Like if you have created this pattern of you being the guy that doesn't show up to meetings, then it's going to take like 6 months of you like being early to every call for like 6 months, right? Like it takes a lot of work. Sometimes it's not worth it. So you're on a PIP. Yeah, so it's good that you joined the program then, Jonathan, because don't quit. Like just ride the PIP for as long as you can, but you're good. It's good that you joined the program because you do need another job like that. I'm not saying, PIPs. I don't think there's some people online that basically say PIPs are death sentences. I don't believe PIPs are that sentences. I've survived them. Like a couple times I've managed to transcend them, or like get out of the pip and become, being the good graces of my employer again. I don't think they're that sentence, but even if it is for you, it doesn't make sense for you to like make their job easy or easier. Just write it as much as you can. In the meantime, we're going to be working on, landing that remote job, that other remote job. And yeah, so JC has it. Like in that case, ABA, always be applying. That's what the stack is all about. 100%. That's why. Again, this ABA. The reason why ABA is important is one of the reasons why full-time employment is going away. Like there's no certainty with employees. Like there's no like, oh, I landed a job. It's like a full-time job with benefits, mom. It could mean nothing. There's people that have gotten fired. I mean, employers are so shameless. Like they have gotten an offer. They had to relocate. They go to the place where they were supposed to relocate, and like a week before or a day before they're supposed to start their work, they get fired, right? Like they get laid off. Sorry. And so like there's no solid footing with employees, with modern employers, and I mean it's not because they're evil. They don't have ethics nor morals by their own standards. Again, they will tell you all the time, the purpose of a business is to make money. All right. So like there's, making money doesn't tell you that you're making it ethically or morally, or that you're concerned with the consequences of your actions. It's, money. However, not all employers are like evil schemers. Like they're not like Mr. Burns, right? Like all of them. But it's like the force of the employment of the full-time system. It's just like they're crumbling, carrying that weight. Like they can't honor the full-time commitment anymore. And it pains. Do you think employers like laying off people? I mean, it balances the budget, great, but it's a bad look. It's a bad look on the outside, and internally, the organism that is the company. It's wounded, like it's suffering, right? Like people are not happy when they survive a layoff. Like there's a part of you that is happy that you survived it, but you are not like thinking that, well, this is now a place to thrive, right? Like to keep going. Now you're sad, right? Like it's demoralizing internally. Productivity takes a hit, morale takes a hit. So employers don't want to be firing people. They want to be hiring people. They want to be, they want to grow. They want to be growing all the time. And so, like, when you hire more people, you're growing. Like, it feels like you're going places. You're making things, right? Like, it's exciting, right? Layoffs is the opposite. But they have to lay off people constantly. They have to treat you they have to treat us the way they treat us, because they can't be the stewards that they're supposed to be. They can't honor the full-time employment system. It's not working for anybody. So that's why I'm saying eventually job stacking will become the norm, because it helps them as well. Like it lifts the burden, it lifts, I want to say burden and boulder at the same time. It lifts the burden off their shoulders of having to, basically take care of you in a sense, which they're not already.